So Jill, I understand that you were both arrested in the actions over the last couple of days. Could you fill us in about what's happening there at the Enbridge Line 3 demonstrations and what happened with you in particular?
You're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now? I'm trying to play with. I'm in the car on the way back from the action. Yeah, I was arrested on yesterday. There were about 3,000 people at this, activists. We were separated in 3 different groups. Those of us who were certain to get arrested, and then the next group was called the yellow group, and they were like, well, we'll see what happens. If I'm not too afraid, I'll jump in. Otherwise, they were support for us. And then there was the green group who was there as support, bringing us water, bringing us snacks, bringing us food, being, overseers of what was going on, protecting us and cheering us on. So there were 3 separate actions that were going on, and we actually didn't know. We spent the whole day before training for them, but we actually didn't know exactly what was going to be going down. We were just taught how to move in a group, how to try and get through if there was a police barricade, but they didn't tell us, we didn't know there were 3 separate actions going on. It was very interesting and very strategic. So the action that I was on, I was one of them on the front lines, however, not one that was down by the actual
You're breaking up, Jill.
Has in place, trying to protect, cars. Can you hear me, George? Am I cutting out? So I don't know if you can hear me or not. So yeah, I was arrested. Can you hear?
Yes.
Okay. So so what's interesting about this is that they didn't have enough jail cells to jail us all. They took people to 5 to 6 different jail houses in the county, so they couldn't jail us all as much as they would have loved to. So they only jailed the people who are still in jail right now. Some of them, Tim Corden from Building Unity. I still can't get a hold of him. He was he tied himself to one of the machines and actually stayed overnight. They were tied down for more than 24 hours to the equipment. So, overall, it was very successful. I encourage people to look at Democracy Now! Today did a great piece on it that was very, very educational. Another place where you can see it happening live is
I'm not sure.
And I think it's Indigenous News Network or something. They were also there live. But I really encourage you to check out Democracy Now! Today. They interviewed Nona LeDuc, and so she gives more of the Enbridge's story. 60% of the pipeline in place, and that is not true. She says they have at best 30 to 35%. So they really, really need and have an urgent plea for anyone that can come and join, because there's a court case that's going to be coming up in August. So Enbridge is in this fury rush to try and get as much of this put in the ground before the court ruling, because it might not be in their favor. So the more and the quicker they can get this pipeline in the ground, the harder it's going to be to undo that. It is going through 67 different waterways. 2 of them are at the headwaters of the Mississippi. And as we all know, the Mississippi traverses down through 10 states and dumps into the Gulf of Mexico. It'll also be going under Lake Superior at a point. So this is critical that this be stopped and at any measure. And they're begging for all of us to, as they put it, put your life on the line, lay it on the line. So they're welcoming people. They have, you know, many campgrounds available. There's places where if you want to be indoors that have, cabins. There's also the casino that you could stay at if you don't want to camp. You also don't need to go up there committed to being arrested. They need the support system just as much as they need those who are being arrested to walk behind us and, like I said, bring us water, bring us food. I am scorched right now. I have blisters on my lips. My face is so sunburned. It was 100 degrees out there. I know I just heard from a friend today who was a leader of AIM in Los Angeles. And she said at the end of this month, a national group of indigenous people are going to be going there. She didn't give me the dates yet, but she invited me to come along. And I'm sure, anyone, that anyone that I, invite to come along would be welcome as well. So that's going to be another huge stand. They had, line after line after line of police, ready to come against us. They were armed. They first tried to do. They took a helicopter, and gave us a first warning to disperse and that we were being unlawful. And the helicopter went in this area of dirt and rock, and went low to stir it up so it all came in our faces and we couldn't see, and people that were real close to that had to run for it, but it left a huge area of of sand twirling around. And of course none of us left at that point, so it took them hours to figure out what their strategy was going to be. But we knew that it was coming, and it was massive. When they came in mass, and they came ready to come against us. So like I said, currently a lot of us were arrested, given a fine. I'm not sure what it was, how much it was. I haven't looked at it yet. I'm pretty exhausted, but like I said, they filled up the jails with people who at two different locations tied themselves down to either the equipment, or they had a boat that they put in the road again to try and block police from coming. They were putting big timbers, tires, everything they could on the roadway down to the pit where they're doing the excavation to again try and stop any police vehicles from being able to get down to the site. But somehow they came in a back way, and so they had strategy too. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and my friend here is also happy to answer any questions that I can. So I'll open it up. Oh.
Can I ask where to send the funds? I'm sure you all need funding. Is there some place that I can go to send funding?
Absolutely, that would be great. Go to either the event was called Treaty People Gathering, and you can send it there, because they are doing all the bail money and the paying all these tickets, and that is going to be massive in the next couple months. So we would really appreciate that. And they have a website, Treaty People Gathering dot, I think is it org? I think it's org. Org.com, yeah, stop line 3. And then there's also Winona's link is stop line 3, and she's.org. So they would really, really appreciate that. Thank you for asking.
Well, it's really wonderful what you're doing. I mean, it's incredible. I know it's not easy, and it's just amazing. So whatever you can do is hugely appreciated.
Thank you very much. It's, you know, it's such an honor. It's absolutely a life-changing experience. I was at Standing Rock, but this is, you know, this is 100 times Standing Rock. Standing Rock was, of course, awful, but it was going in one lake. No lake, no water body is okay. But this, like I said, is going through 67 watersheds. And yeah.
Do you have to go back to court?
Do I have to what? I'm sorry, Pam?
Back to court? Do you have to go appear in court?
Probably, and they used to hold it by Zoom, of course, but I mean, if they start doing it in person, I'll have to go back to appear for it. And they want us to do that rather than to, you know, they give us the option to say, okay, you know, I don't want to take you to court. We'll, you know, I'll pay the fine and make it go away. But they're encouraging us not to do that because they really want to clog up the courts with this, because Enbridge has to pay for all this. The state of Minnesota, in the deal they made with Enbridge, was that they were going to have to pay for all the extra policing, all the court, you know, all the costs that went with it, because at Standing Rock, they tried to bill $3.5 million for all the extra policing and court costs. And so the Minnesota governor gave Enbridge permission to go ahead with this on the condition that they pay for all this. So all these police officers are actually being paid now by Enbridge. Big money. They're getting big money to do what they're doing.
How much of the operation were you able to stall, or was there a lot of work going on?
Yeah, you know, one day of work is you know, of course, millions for them. And so, you know, they've already lost probably 3 days so far. And so that's a big deal. And like I said, they keep, you know, asking people to continue to coming. People came from all over the United States. It was amazing. It was from California. Where else did you hear?
Utah, Vermont, Oregon,
Pennsylvania.
Alabama,
Yeah.
Texas, Rocky Mountains. Those states.
So are people coming in organized buses and driving up by themselves? And how is everyone being supported up there? Are people just staying for a couple days, or are some planning on a long haul?
Some are staying long term. Others have, you know, on stay, have decided to stay for a couple more weeks. I didn't see any buses get there. I didn't get there till 4 a.m. Sunday morning, but it seemed like it was military.
And they, you know, if they also provide, will give you gas cards if you don't have the money to get there. They so desperately need people there that they'll help you in any way to get there. They would also, I'm sure, you know, help pay for a bus. If someone organized a bus load of people, they would certainly help with that, with the funds that people are donating to this cause. That, in my opinion, busing is a phenomenal idea. You get a lot of people on a bus. I know Tim with Building Unity was talking about organizing another trip up there. He's talking about sometime in July. So Pam or I can keep you updated on what the specifics of that would be. But that would be incredible if we could get a busload of people to go.
Mm-hmm. Boots on the ground. I guess that's what you need, right?
That's absolutely what we need. That's the only way we can stop it. Every day we're on the grounds and the police are there is a day that they can't work. And so up until the court date in August, when hopefully they'll get a stay of whatever they're looking to get, and they're confident that they'll win this argument that they're bringing in August. And so that's why this urgent call. And I mean, and they specifically called it treaty people gathering, because they are saying we are all treaty people. When you have a treaty, it's a contract and it's agreement, and there's two sides to it. And our ancestors were part of that treaty. And so we're responsible. And as they say, they've been defending the land and the water for 400 years since the colonists came over and stole their land. they've been trying to protect against what us colonizers have done, and they keep fighting for it and putting themselves on the line, and are still in jail all over the country for all the actions that we've never heard about. And so they're saying it's time for you, as part of these treaties that were made, to stand and honor your side of that treaty, because treaties should supersede any other law. That's what the Constitution says. So it is up to us, non-Indigenous people, to stand, as the other side of that contract that we made with them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
all treaty people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they've been protesting and blocking the construction of the pipeline for around 3 years. Are they going to be continuously protesting this summer?
Yep. But the problem is, and the reason they're calling on all non-natives, is many of them have already been arrested a number of times. And there's only, I'm not sure what the number is that you can be arrested, and then you're just going to jail. They're tired of it. So they're running out of native people to take the stand. That's their biggest problem right now.
Wow.
So I encourage everyone. Number one, we've got to contact President Biden continually, and I know he's had his comment line down for weeks, and but you can, I guess the best way to contact him, 350 Minnesota put out and I've got it on my Facebook page. Maybe you can find that, Pam, and share it with the group, about how best to contact Biden and demand that he stop this. The helicopter that came in and did that little stunt with the sand was ordered by him. So that was federal. That wasn't state. You'll see Winona talking about that on the Democracy Now! Piece from today. So he's not being a friend for us in this issue, even though he stopped one pipeline. That's not enough. This one is the major one. He keeps doing these little things that he wants us to believe are big things, and that's the story, but we're not getting that. This is the biggest story. And why hasn't this been in any news? When Standing Rock was going on, it was national news. It was on every station, every news station. Now there is no news station that has picked this up. It was in the Washington Post. It was in the New York Times. It was on PBS News Hour. But I haven't yet. I'm still driving, so I don't know if any national news of CNN or MSNBC or any of the major channels think they would pick it up now that why have they waited this long?
There's a report. There is a report by MSNBC. I think it's on Honor the Earth Facebook page.
Okay, good. That's good to hear, Pam. Thank you. Boy, and there's just got to be an onslaught of people just, continually making the demand. Email them every day, however you guys get them. I don't know if you can post it on White House, their Facebook page or .com, or however you can do it. Just constantly pummel them with it, that we the people demand an end to this now, right now. We're in the 11:30 hour with this. So yeah, it's boots on the ground, digital, what do they call that? Digital warriors, whatever, that you're that you text and you send emails demanding an end to it. It's any means necessary. That was one of our chants. How are we going to stop this? By any means necessary, whatever it takes. Whatever we do. I mean, we stood out there. We had a whole day of training. And then the day of action, we started at, some of us at 7 o'clock in the morning. And if we finished the action and didn't go to jail, we didn't get back to the campground until midnight. So And we were doing this in 100-degree weather with full sun beating on us. So it's no small commitment, but it's necessary. I mean, you know, as I tried to tell people, and I was on the front lines with the police, going up and down the lines, talking to them, trying to get them to understand what they're doing. And I told them, I said, this day is going to go down in history. We are making history this day. This is the largest 3,000 people standing. It's bigger than Standing Rock on any one given day with 3 actions going on. It's enormous. And I said, this is history making. You're going to have to forevermore say where you were and what role you took on this day. And they kept replacing guys in front of me because I know, you know, swishing the ground behind them, turning sideways instead of the stoic robotic, because they said here, you know, we're not here. And at what point, what's the point you won't cross? You know, I said, you don't even know that anymore. You're so conditioned to just do what you do. And literally they kept having to replace guys that were being affected by what I was saying. And they'd take them away and bring in 3 more who stood there stoic. And I did the same line with them. And I said, you don't understand. I said, you are being used. You are being used. You're a tool of this system. And I said, you're not serving and protecting. Look behind you at the enormous infrastructure that's put there for the drilling with a flag on top of it, an American flag flying on top of it. And I said, that's who you're serving and protecting. And you're signing the backs of your paychecks that's soaked in dirty, filthy tar sand oil. And I said, if you're okay with that, if you're, you know, go buy yourself something shiny and new that's going to last a long time, because the price you're paying for it is enormous. So what was great about that, I have to tell you this part of it, this is wonderful. So, and it was so great because the support team with us were cheering me on the whole time, because I went through line after line after line of policemen, and they would come and pour water over my head, bring me water to drink, bring me snacks to keep me going. And the great news was this morning at camp, when they gave us an update, I couldn't hear which exactly of the police forces it was, called Enbridge and told them they will no longer stand against water protectors. Amazing. Amazing. And they, you know, they won't be able to forget what they heard. They just won't, because it, you know, my spiel was about a half hour with each new line they brought up, and they kept bringing up, you know, the next wave. I don't know if they were coming in pay grades or whatever, but you could see that they were physically and emotionally, you know, touched by what I was saying to them. And I said, you know what? I said, your blue wall has crumbled and your thin blue line has been severed in numerous places. You're losing in court case after court case all over the country. And I said, how can you, I said, you don't have qualified immunity today. You can't say that we were a threat to you and you were afraid of us. Not one of us is armed. So you can't use qualified immunity when you come out with, you know, us with your billy clubs and your stun guns. And, you know, there were some of them with the rubber bullet rifles. And I said, this is not qualified immunity, won't even count here. So, and, you know, I just kept saying, you're not brave. You're not courageous. I said, courageous and brave would be to walk away right now. If you can't do that right now, because, you know, and I asked them the question, I said, ask yourself inside, don't answer me, but ponder this question. I said, if you were to walk away, because I could see so many of them wanted to, I said, ask yourself if your brothers would be behind you, the brotherhood, if they would support you in that. You're in a cult. This is a cult, and you're conditioned. And I said, I pray for you and the military, you know, continually, because you're tools. You're being used. So, you know, and then I would tell them, I said, you've got the highest, you know, your occupation has the highest rate of suicide, the highest rate of of divorce. And I said, at best, at the end of your career, you'll have severe PTSD. That's an awfully high price to pay. And they heard it all, and they were deeply, deeply, they were woke. Let's put it that way. So I was just so thrilled to hear that a whole department said, we're not doing this again. So
Thank you, Jill, for being brave.
you're so welcome. You're so welcome, and thank you for whatever support you can give to this, and thank you for standing for Mother Earth in all the ways that you do.
Well, thank you for standing for Mother Earth.
You're
You're really
most
on the
welcome.
front lines.
Amen.
It's an honor.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much. You're a really brave woman, and we appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you so
Indeed.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you. Good night, everybody. Good night,
Night,
Julie. Good night,
peace.
Pam. Good night,